For about 25 years, the English crown and the papacy had been trying to negotiate the question of how far the Pope's power extends within England.
So Wycliffe goes to Bruges on behalf of King Richard II's council, and he goes to argue that the English shouldn't be paying such heavy taxes to the church.
The English church accounted for a tremendous amount of land ownership, taxation, and so forth. It was a very wealthy and powerful institution.
The church had become a sort of revenue-raising venture. Some people undoubtedly came to see the wealth of the church as corrupting.
People are beginning to question the opulence of the church. Rome always seemed to be wanting more in terms of taxation.
You could see, and this was one of the things that Wycliffe saw, is that power and money had corrupted the church. It wasn't really focused on personal faith or on pure theology, but in so many ways interested in power.
So for Wycliffe, looking around at the world around him, these papal agents, these bishops in their palaces, it looks wrong to him.
Wycliffe saw the church leaders as focused on themselves and their own gain rather than the needs of those in their care, and he was violently opposed to it.
The church was giving no pastoral care. False-hearted shepherds were not caring for the flock.
And so, of course, one assumes there were many good, local, loving, caring, sacrificial parish priests, but there are also people who did it for wealth and power, for worldly success.
There's no doubt that Wycliffe comes to see the influence of politics in religion as a corrupting agent.
You had to be a certain sort of person to be able to get into a position of influence or power. There was a lot of money involved, which meant that it appealed to the wrong sort of people.
And so all of these factors sort of come together to indicate to Wycliffe that things are too corrupt, that the spiritual dominion and the political dominion are too interlinked in a really damaging way.
And some of the fiercest critics of this kind of corruption, if you will, were churchmen themselves. Many churchmen were critical of the way the church was run.
In Wycliffe's view, the church had decayed. It was far too involved in politics. It didn't have the ordinary believer's salvation at its core.
I think he's animated by a desire to recover for the church its apostolic heritage. And as he looks back through the centuries, he just sees the identity that the church ought to have has become twisted and mangled, and it's a parody of what it once was.
This is what made Wycliffe really dangerous to higher churchmen and ultimately to the Pope, because it really threatened the stability of their place within England and the power that they wielded in England and beyond.